Big win for the Flyers the other night as they won in a shootout, and now they are north of the border. And we're joined now by Flyers radio analyst Steve Coates as he joins us here on the Sports Bash. Coatesy, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Not bad, sir. Now, I sent you a text last night to let you know that there were weather issues in Philly and stuff going on in the building you're in a lot. I hear now that you had weather issues just getting to Ottawa.
Yeah, we had a pretty nasty flight coming up here. In fact, it was pretty rocky for the full hour, and then we circled Ottawa for about, 3 times. We had to be redirected or rerouted to Buffalo because of fog here in Ottawa. So we landed in Buffalo around 5 o'clock and sat on the tarmac there and then got back up in the air and landed here at 7 o'clock last night.
You've played in a lot of buildings over your career, Coatesy, a lot of old buildings. You probably remember that Buffalo game with the fog and the bat that got knocked down. Have you ever seen, or I mean, what are your memories of situations like what took place last night at the Wells Fargo Center?
Well, you know what? You talk about the fog in Buffalo. It's ironic that today is the anniversary of the Fog Bowl game here at the Grey Cup in Canada. 1962, Hamilton Tiger Cats against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had to be playing 2 games because the temperature of the air and the temperature of the ground created a fog so bad they could not continue. So when I heard that last night, that they had to cancel the game, it's just the difference in the building's temperature and the difference in the building or the floor of the building. I mean, the floor is probably, I think they probably keep it around 15 degrees, that concrete floor, and then the ice is above it, and then above the ice is homosote, 3/4-inch homosote, which then you sit the basketball court on. So obviously they had a problem with the moisture because of the difference in the temperatures, and that's just I feel sorry. It's just obviously a mistake made in the building. I guess somebody said that they didn't do the temperature or something.
Yeah, that sounds like what the story is going. Of course, we haven't heard the entire chapter and verse yet, but obviously it's either a equipment malfunction or a human malfunction. That is still to be determined.
But what I understand, though, the Sixers are blaming the Flyers. They're saying it's all your fault.
Well, if that's what they feel, then go ahead.
That's not what they're saying.
We were just mentioning how the Sixers don't operate the building. They are just tenants there. So they look bad, but they don't really have anything to do with the building any longer.
Yeah, they must. Is this a conspiracy?
Well, I know they got to make that game up at some point. And let me ask you this. Because of what happened last night through the floor with the Sixers, if the Flyers were to play last night, would you have been affected by what happened? Would the ice have been a problem or not? Probably not.
Probably not. No, not at all.
No, you guys knew the Sixers were coming in to crank that heat up. That's what happened, right?
Well, I can't believe you caught me. What I did, I slipped into the Wells Fargo last night, and before we got on that plane. Yeah.
All right, Coatesy, you're in Ottawa, and the Flyers do play tonight. 7:30 puck drop, of course. Tim Saunders and Steve Coates will have that call on the radio. And let me get your take on Schenn, because it looks like Schenn could be a happy camper. They signed him to a lot of money. It could be him, Konechny, and Simmonds at practice on Wednesday. So is that a good shot in the arm for Brayden Schenn?
Well, it's another opportunity for Brayden Schenn. He's had lots of opportunities. Last year, I really thought at the end of the year he turned the corner. I mean, he was really good. And we've always likened his ability to be able to hit and take the body and his ability to play the game. I think when he is aggressive and physical, that's when he's at his best. But he doesn't play with any urgency a lot of the time. There's no in-between with him. So he had the opportunity to be one of the guest left wingers, which I call being the guest left winger. Right now it's Michael Raffle, before it was great. Where, to play with Giroux and Voracek. So now he Doesn't do very well there, so they put him back on the fourth line, tried to get him mad. He got mad. Played really good. Last 2 games, really good. Up on his skates, doing the things he's supposed to do, moving the puck. So if you can get a bigger guy in that position, no offense to Nick Cousins. Nick Cousins does a great job. But Schenn is a little bit bigger, a better skater, and he could bring a little bit more to that second line and still utilize Cousins in the center position, but this changes it around a little bit to be able to maybe get more offensive upside with Konechny and Simmonds on the wings.
Steve Coates with us, Flyers radio analyst. Flyers in Ottawa tonight. And, of course, one of the storylines the other night, Coates, was Steve Mason, the shootout that went forever. But do you think Steve Mason will start tonight against the Ottawa Senators?
Oh, I would think so. Did you guys do you remember the show or the story about Alabama and the 40 Thieves? Alabama and the 40 Thieves?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard the Beastie Boys sing about that.
Well, the other night it was Steve Mason and the 19 Thieves, because the way that Mason stole that game, we got outshot 50-20 in our own building and won the hockey game. That tells you how good he played against a very good Boston Bruins team. So if you get that kind of goaltending when you do score goals, you could be pretty good as the time moves on, because this is a very tough stretch here. You got 3 games in 4 nights. Ottawa's in second place right now in their division. Then you got Chicago coming on Saturday afternoon and then have to travel to Nashville. So if you can get this goaltender moving in that direction and start scoring goals like you have in the past and playing the game, then it's going to be interesting to see. This is a real test, this 3 out of 4.
What'd you think of Stolarz the other night?
I thought he had some good moments. I thought he had some rocky moments. I thought he had a game that was indicative of a kid that was probably really nervous. And when you're nervous as a goaltender, you can see it in your decision-making and your reaction to the puck. You're going into the National Hockey League from playing in the American Hockey League, and what you see is the speed of the player is that much greater, and the speed of the puck coming at you. The shooters are a lot more accurate, and at the same time, the puck comes a lot faster. As much as he played in the preseason, you're still facing in the preseason minor league players, junior players, and to jump into that, it's tough. So I thought he did a good job. He won the game, so that's going to be half the battle.
And Simmer with an assist, 3-game point streak, 11 goals, 22 points in 24 games this year. Is this the best you've seen from Wayne Simmonds?
Yeah, I think he's been really good. I think we were talking the other night on the air. I think his skating is better too, because what you see now is that he's kind of an awkward skater. And when he does skate, you say, well, he can't be going that fast. Well, he's going fast. And we've seen him beat people in breakaways or in situations through the neutral zone, into the zone. And that tells you that his skating, I think, is better. And that's why he's having a better year. I mean, Wayne Simmonds is an interesting character. No matter who he plays with, he's successful. And that's kind of a rare thing, because usually, I've always said, you're only as good as who you play with. But this guy, doesn't matter who the center is, who the left winger is, he's going to score. And the other thing that is so important is the power play, where his position to the right of the goaltender, what he has done has made that an art. It's an art form for the way he does that. And so he's a very important element of this hockey club.
And maybe this is the year that he finally gets that All-Star nod. Steve Coates with us. We talk Flyers hockey. And, Steve, when we talked to you on the radio recently, we said Dale Weiss, what's the deal with Dale Weiss? You think he can finally get a goal? And boom, he scores a goal that night. So who should we talk about tonight?
Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
PT, there you go. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare needs a little jump start to his offense. I was listening actually on the radio when we scored, and it was like, hey, there you go. You guys just talked about him today. Let's get the lucky touch. Who needs a goal now? So let's keep our eye on Pierre. There we go, Bellemare.
I'll tell you what, though, the last guy, and it's not for lack of effort. I mean, he works his tail off night after night. They got him in a position now. He's playing the third and fourth line, and he did a great job as a checker the other night against the Bergeron line. So he's a very valuable guy, but we got to get him in that scoring.
I'll tell you what, it's been interesting with all the guys. You know, it seems like, Delzato sat out, then he came in and scored. McDonald sat out, he came in and scored. You get the night off, you come back, and these guys are getting a little fire. So we'll see what the defensive pairings look like tonight in Ottawa, where the Flyers take on the Senators. And, of course, Steve Coates will have the call with Tim Saunders on the radio. Coatesy, hail Canada.
Hey, it's cloudy, cold, but we'll be back tonight. Hey, by the way, I got to say something about the Wells Fargo Center. We joked about all that. I'll tell you right now, when you're working a building night after night after night, and putting basketball in and taking it out, putting it in, taking it out, there's a lot of work to that. I hope it's a technical problem they had last night, because they do a great job. The people that are involved in that, they can turn that building over in 3 hours. So I just hope that it is something technical and somebody didn't blow it, because they do a great job. They should get I know they lost the game last night as far as not having to be able to play it, but they do some kind of credit for the job they do.
A good point. A 20-year-old building, by the way, too. It's not a new car.
Well, and Coachy, we appreciate the time as always, but that is a good point.